There we go. Dude, now that feels like what I'm looking for right there. Coming up, not coming up, not coming up. That might even be a brownie. And it's not a brownie, but it's certainly the kind of fish I'm looking for on summertime deep weed line fishing like this, on the old standard plastic worm Texas rig. You can't get any more simple than that. Nice stocky fish. You know, with so many rods on the market these days, how in the heck do you pick a rod? Well, pretty much a lot of companies obviously make good rods, but what I happen to prefer, what I happen to like for this type of fishing, I've got the Vexan 6'10" medium action, and that's rigged with 20-pound Suffix braid. Got a little fluoro in front of that, and just your standard 7-inch worm, 3/16 ounce weight. You know, nothing, I mean, talk about old school favorite right there. So what makes this rod, say, better than any other rod out there? You know, better is, how do you classify that? But the things I really like about it, for starters, is the taper of the blank. You know, when you're fishing largemouth bass, you gotta have a rod that, of course, that is super beefy at the meat section of the rod. And, you know, nowadays, the tapers have gotten so fine where you get such a nice tip action, which really allows you to cast light baits with ease, yet have plenty of beef to set the hook. Obviously, on a Texas rig worm, you gotta really punch that thing through. One of the other features I really like about the Vexan rods is the no aluminum oxide guides. It's got stainless steel inserts here. How many times you pick up your favorite rod, you may have stepped on it or whatever, and the oxide is popped out. You talk about a pain in the butt, having to have a new guide tied on there. No more of that. I have not lost a single guide out of these things yet. So that's certainly an improvement. The other thing I like is this Skeletal Reelseat system. I mean, this is a nice Fuji component where you can actually feel the blank. And when I'm working this bait, I've got complete feel of the blank. And I just always kind of rest my finger there when I'm worm fishing. Just kind of the 10 and 2 position, 10 and noon position like that. I don't know, it just works good for me. With that Fuji seat there, I mean, you see this thing just locks down. How many cheap rods out there, your reel comes loose on the seat like that and it just drives you nuts. All right, so another thing I really like about this rod, especially when fishing braid like this, is this no tangle tip. And what I mean by that is the way this guide tapers down and is actually tied into the blank. If you wrap your line around the blank, it slips right off of it. How many times have you been fishing braid with other rods and that line gets twisted around like that and it doesn't pull off the tip? That is a huge time saver, without a doubt. That's a big improvement on a guide system. So there you have it at a reasonable price, the 6'10" medium Vexan Bass. That is my go-to rod for plastic worm fishing.